Welcome back to another episode of Flyers NCAA Prospect Watch, the show where we break down every major performance from the next generation of Flyers hockey. And this weekend, it was a roller coaster across the NCAA landscape. Dominant wins, tough losses, and breakout moments. Also a few quiet nights. But at the center of it all was one name making noise at the national level, Porter Martone. So let's jump in. The Flyers pipeline continues to heat up, and at the center of that spotlight is once again Porter Martone, the freshman who refuses to play like one. Michigan State, the number one ranked team in the country, rolled into their weekend series against Notre Dame and delivered an absolute statement. They're for real. Martone, he was the engine of that statement. On Friday night, Michigan State throttled Notre Dame 4-1, and Martone delivered another two-goal performance. Both goals showcased exactly what the Flyers saw in him: pace, strength, and a lethal scoring touch. One came from his trademark quick release in tight, a shot that doesn't need much space to beat a goaltender. The other came from pure off-puck intelligence, sliding into soft ice and finishing a perfect setup. His ability to find lanes and arrive at the right time is already above college level. Then came Saturday. Michigan State won 3-1, and Martone scored again. 3 goals in just 2 games on the weekend and 7 on the season. With 7 assists to go with them, he now sits at 14 points in just 10 games. As a true freshman playing top competition on the number one team in the nation. Most players need months, sometimes years, to adjust to the NCAA speed and physicality. Martone didn't even need a weekend. Now let's go a little deeper. Martone's a winger with pro habits already. His skating blends strength and stride power, allowing him to win puck races and maintain balance through contact. At 6'2", he already knows how to use his frame. He leans on defenders, protects the puck, and he works the inside lanes. His shot is elite for his age, heavy, deceptive, and quick off the blade. Goalies struggle to read it because he changes angles mid-stride. But his play without the puck is what elevates his NHL projection. He understands spacing, he tracks back hard, and he wins battles. He doesn't cheat for offense, which is rare for young scoring wingers. His compete level is sky high, and his instincts allow him to anticipate plays before they unfold. Martone smells scoring chances the way elite wingers do, and not by luck, but by pattern reading. There's also a growing argument that he might be the best winger in college hockey right now. Michigan State heads into next weekend against 10th-ranked Wisconsin, and with Martone rolling like this, don't forget to mark your calendars. The Flyers didn't just draft a good prospect, they drafted a potential cornerstone franchise-changing forward. While Martone piled up goals, his teammate Shane Vansaghi had a quieter weekend on the score sheet, but that doesn't mean he wasn't noticeable. In fact, Vansaghi's game is best understood by looking beyond the box score. His role isn't to score, it's to crash, to bang, to wear teams down, and to build momentum shifts through physicality. Across Friday and Saturday's sweep of Notre Dame, Vansaghi delivered exactly what he specializes in, that heavy, punishing style that makes him such an intriguing long-term bottom six projection. He finishes checks, won board battles, and created separation for line mates by doing the grunt work every successful team needs. When Michigan State controls the game the way they did this weekend, it's players like Vansaghi who quietly tilt the ice. Vansaghi's defensive responsibility continues to be his defining trait. He supports low in the zone, maintains structure, and plays with detail. Coaches trust him because he doesn't freelance. He plays within the system, makes smart choices, and forces opponents into mistakes by being in the right place. The physical element matters, and Vansaghi isn't reckless. He's calculated. His hits are purposeful, designed to disrupt breakout timing and force hurried decisions. Those plays don't show up as goals or assists, but they absolutely impact winning. And from a development standpoint, Vansaghi's progressing exactly the way you want a future bottom six wing. He knows his identity and he plays into it. There's no confusion there. Not trying to be something he's not. He's forechecking, space creating, energy driving, and he's got a defensive conscience. Players who commit to that role early and often become reliable pros down the line. Michigan State will need that physical edge next weekend as they take on Wisconsin. So while Vansaghi might not have points, he absolutely serves a purpose. For Notre Dame, this was a weekend to forget, and unfortunately the same goes for Flyers prospect Cole Knuble. He was held off the score sheet in both games, and he also struggled to generate meaningful offense and looked invisible for long stretches, especially during Saturday's 3-1 loss. The most glaring moment came when Knuble passed up a grade A scoring opportunity directly in front of Michigan State's goal, choosing to force a pass instead of taking the shot. For a player known for scoring touch and maybe his competitive drive, that hesitation was a little bit uncharacteristic in my opinion. Knuble has built his entire game around attacking the middle, using his strength and firing pucks with confidence, and yet in this moment, he deferred. The single sequence summed up Cole Knuble's weekend. A little too tentative, a little too quiet, and a little too reactive. Every prospect has off nights, but Knuble struggled to impose himself in any of the ways that he typically excels. He didn't consistently win battles, didn't push defenders back with pace, and didn't find the soft spots that he normally exploits. Notre Dame as a team never really generated a rhythm, so context does matter, but Knuble's expected to be one of the drivers of that offense, not someone who blends into the background, really. He's too smart and too competitive to sleepwalk through games, but this weekend was one where he simply wasn't able to influence much. The good news is Notre Dame has a bye next weekend, or this weekend coming up, which is a perfect opportunity to reset. His value comes from his consistency, his work rate, his physical engagement. So when he's on, he's very noticeable each shift. And when he's off, like this weekend, kind of shows. We'll be looking for Knuble to rebound once Notre Dame returns to action. It was a tough night for 12th-ranked Boston University, who were steamrolled by number 5 Quinnipiac in a lopsided loss that exposed several weaknesses in BU's structure. No Flyers prospect recorded a point, and the Terriers never found their footing in the loss. From the drop of the puck, Quinnipiac dictated pace, controlled the middle of the ice, and BU struggled with defensive zone exits, puck support, and executing under pressure. Flyers prospects on the roster had limited opportunities to impact the flow as the game tilted heavily into the defensive end early and stayed there for long stretches. Even though there wasn't much individual success to highlight, the bigger story is how BU responds. The team is ranked 12th for a reason. They have talent, depth, and high-end young players. But against a structured, top-ranked opponent, they were outclassed. These games still matter for prospect development. They show players what elite execution looks like and where their own habits need tightening. Next weekend's back-to-back against number 14 Northeastern gives them a chance to reset. Northeastern's fast, scrappy, and opportunistic, a team that punishes sloppy play. So if BU wants to avoid another tough weekend, their Flyers prospects will need to be sharper, more engaged, and more assertive, not just offensively, but all around. And now for some good news. We have Flyers prospect and Harvard freshman Heikki Ruohonen. This weekend marked a major milestone, his first NCAA goal. And it wasn't just a meaningless tally, it was the game-winning goal in a tight 2-1 win over Clarkson. Add in Harvard's win over St. Lawrence, and Ruohonen now has 1 goal and 3 assists through 6 games in his freshman season. Ruohonen's trending up quickly, and unlike some freshmen who fade in and out of games, he plays with an impressive level of poise. His first college goal was a perfect example of that composure, finding space, taking on 4 defenders, and finishing with controlled, confident release. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't panicked. It was the finish of a player who understands timing and opportunity. As I mentioned on last week's report, Ruohonen's a cerebral two-way center with strong instincts and excellent feel for spacing. His hockey IQ is his defining trait. He sees plays early, anticipates movement, and positions himself to either support the puck or disrupt opponents. Defensively, he already looks like a seasoned college center. Low support, active stick, and responsible reads. Offensively, Ruohonen's game is built on detail rather than flash. His passing is crisp and deliberate. He makes simple plays that advance possession, and he rarely forces low-percentage attempts. His edges are strong, allowing him to escape pressure and pivot into passing lanes with efficiency. He's not a burner, but his stride is clean and he gains speed smoothly through transitions. One of Ruohonen's most underrated attributes is his deception. He uses his shoulders and head fakes to manipulate defenders, as you saw on the goal. He also opens lanes for controlled entries and has quick passes off the wall. He plays calm, measured, and he's very mature for his age. Physically, he's still developing, and that's what makes him so intriguing. Once he adds strength, his board battles and net front game are going to improve, unlocking more offense. The foundation's already there for Ruohonen. He has awareness, his control, his responsibility, and the ability to consistently make the right play. A team like Harvard leans heavily on structure and smart puck movement, and Ruohonen fits that mold perfectly. With 2 wins this weekend and his first NCAA goal under his belt, he's cementing himself as one of the Flyers' most promising long-term prospects. And lastly, we have Noah Powell, who continues to struggle offensively at Arizona State, posting just 2 points in his 10 games and being scratched in 2 of the team's last 4. Even in limited usage, he did manage an assist in Arizona State's upset win over North Dakota Saturday night, showing he can contribute when given the chance. Powell plays a responsible two-way game, strong on the walls and reliable defensively. Generally mistake-free, but his offensive impact remains inconsistent, and he often passes up chances rather than forcing plays. His skating, positioning, and hockey IQ keep him usable in defensive situations, but he still needs to add strength and assertiveness to win more battles and create offense. At this point, Powell projects more as a long-term depth or bottom 6 hopeful, and his next step is proving he can stay in the lineup and make himself harder to scratch. So there you have it, another weekend in the books and another batch of developments across the Flyers prospect landscape. From Martone's dominance to Ruohonen's first college goal, from quiet nights to breakout moments, this system continues to evolve every week. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this week's developments and what do you want to see happen next. In the meantime, don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. I'll see you next time on HW Hockey.
Thanks for watching HW Hockey. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.